Nerds.
We are here outside of the Marketplace Cinema here in Winston-Salem. Well, you and I have seen quite a few movies here over the years. This used to be known as the $2.50 Cinema. Like literally the tickets were $2.50. And that was back when they would buy films like in the canisters, you know, in the physical film back then. So they would buy it after other theaters had used it. And so it would be a month or two after a movie had come out. And then you could come and see it for like $2, I think it was $2.50 for the longest time. But the new management, you know, they've upgraded the theater over the years. And now you can see current movies when they come out, best prices in town.
Oh yeah, still a lot better.
Yeah.
Even if it's not $2.50.
Yeah, so
and the
concessions,
food is good.
The concessions are the cheapest in town too, and they have alcohol. So hey, plug for Marketplace Cinema. Come check it out if you live here in Winston. You get that for free, Marketplace, if you happen to be watching this. Hopefully you don't mind us mentioning it. Anyway, we just saw the movie, so this is our instant review, and
instantaneous.
Yeah, like. The lights are so good out here that we're able to record outside at night. It's pretty cool.
Jinx, and then they shut them off.
Yeah, they might turn them off while we're at it. We'll see.
No, when's the last show time?
I think 7. So yeah,
okay,
that might happen. But if it does, we'll just record in the dark. So make it fun.
And then get mugged.
So let's see. So we're gonna try to make this instant review as spoiler-free as possible, and then tomorrow.
That guy was in it. I'm kidding.
Huh? Oh yeah. Tomorrow we're gonna do a more in-depth review and connect it to some of the other things in the Marvel universe, etc. So first reactions. So out of 5 nerd hats, Will, your initial reaction, how many nerd hats would you give it?
Well, whenever I get out of a movie, I'm usually too excited and give something too high of a rating. So I want to say 5, but maybe that's too high. I will say this though, I enjoyed this movie and thought it was much better than experience than several of the past Marvel movies I've seen. Love and Thunder being one of the movies that I think this movie trumps, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I would rate it higher than Love and Thunder as well. And I think we were maybe a little unfair to Thor: Love and Thunder. Like when we first saw it, our instant review, we gave it 2.5, I think.
Yeah, well, you know,
which is a little low. I don't know. The second time I watched it, I was like, you know what? This is a little better than that.
It was not meant to be your typical Marvel fare. Quantumania was your typical Marvel fare, but Love and Thunder was a completely different beast.
It was supposed to be a comedy, I think, and kind of like like Ragnarok. You know, it threw me off the first time I watched it, and the second time I was like, this grew on me, and I liked it better. But so for this film, I think we'll give it 4 nerd hats out of 5. I think that's a good solid review. I think that's one that'll hold up even after time, you know, but my instant thought, I'd say 4 nerd hats out of 5. How about you?
Yeah, that sounds fair. We need to get actual nerd hats and then stack them.
Yeah. or I can put in a graphic or something where it's like 4 nerd hats. So
if you want to work for free in order to do graphics and animations, contact us.
That's right. So 4 out of 5. So let's think about categories. Visual effects. How would you read the visual effects?
It was really good. Because we saw a lot of things that is typically not seen in most movies.
Yeah, they got really creative, which, you know, it's the quantum realm, which who knows what that looks like. So, you know, they're pretty wide open in what they can experiment with. Most of the creatures were still, humanoid, I guess, like more or less, or somewhat of a copy of something in this realm, which I guess is supposed to be part of the
slug horses.
The idea, right? We didn't see any tardigrades though. Like, where were the tardigrades?
I was just thinking of that.
Maybe that's in a different part of the. Maybe it's like
Tardigrades are too big.
Yeah, maybe they're they must be outside of the void, because they had to go through the void to get here, or to be more precise, they got pulled through the void. So, but yeah, excellent visual effects, right? Like, I mean, and there was like literally like hundreds and hundreds of people involved in making the visual effects. Like, I imagine they probably filmed the majority of it on green screen. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm sure that there were some physical sets, but I'm sure you had green screens behind them and like running on green carpet and green screen. It's a lot of CGI.
Lots of CGI. I lived in the green.
Yeah, yeah. No, imagine that. I wonder if it has to get a little boring as an actor. Like, if you're like, I mean, I'm sure again there's some physical sets, but maybe not. Maybe that's part of being an actor. You just have a really good imagination.
Well, voice actors.
Like chasing a guy with a ball on his head or something, or oh man, so this takes the cake. So apparently one of Tom Holland and Zendaya's kisses in the Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
Zendaya couldn't be there for one of them, so there's this picture that was circulating. He had to kiss some. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. I'm assuming it was a woman. He had to kiss a woman who was in a green suit.
What?
So he's like kissing a green suit, and they digitally replaced that with Zendaya later.
That is weird.
I was like, nah, man, you can't do that. Like,
and overly expensive.
It just
too much work.
Yeah.
Zendaya, get here right now.
So anyway, this is definitely kind of film that you want to go to see on the big screen. You know, it's like a CGI fest. You know, but it's well done CGI. It's not
like Superman's mustache.
Superman's mustache.
So that's a Justice League joke. Henry Cavill's mustache. Never mind.
I don't get it. Okay.
He doesn't get it.
You can tell me later.
I demand the Snyder mustache. Okay. Moving
Snyder
on.
stash. Okay, so yeah, visual effects really good. Acting, the acting is solid. I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is fun, you know, and he can do both pathos and comedy and drama. You know, the dude's talented, and he makes it seem easy. Like, you know what I mean? He's just very relaxed in his roles, but yeah, he's talented.
He is, and now that he's done 3 Ant-Mans, maybe he'll be freed up from more Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Do they have a sequel plan for that yet?
Yeah, it's already started filming.
Nice.
In London, I think.
Doesn't he plays a teacher, I think, doesn't he? In the
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a high school teacher that gets sucked into the. Yeah, I need to rewatch that. I've got it on Blu-ray now.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Good movie, by the way. We'll review it one of these days. One of our retro reviews, I guess. So he did a really good job. Obviously, Evangeline Lilly, you know, she's great. I've loved her in almost everything she's in. Back since I first saw her in Lost. You know, she was one of the big characters. Did you watch Lost back in the day?
I was lost by Lost.
You were lost by Lost.
Very lost.
So she did a good job. Obviously, Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, you know, veterans of the industry. Michelle Pfeiffer has a very prominent role in this film, more so than Michael Douglas. I think she has more lines and is featured, I think, a little more in this film.
I think so.
I thought she was great.
Based on the plot, it was the best decision.
Yeah, definitely better than her role as Catwoman. But then that was like 30 years ago.
She was Catwoman?
She played Catwoman.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't realize that was the same person.
Batman Returns. But again, 30 years ago, so she's had time to grow and mature.
Yeah. Well, I didn't connect the dots and realize that I've been watching Catwoman and Ant-Man, so I guess you and I are even now that you don't know the mustache.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, one of these days we should do a retro review of Batman Returns. Like,
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah. I've not watched it in a long time.
I remember it as being my personal favorite of the 2 Michael Keaton Batmans.
Yeah, I think it was better than the first. I'm not a huge fan of either one of them, but then I kind of got spoiled. Like, I actually saw them after I saw at least the first. I think at least Batman Begins. I saw that before I saw either of those, which a lot of people be like, but so I kind of got spoiled a little bit. But yeah, I need to revisit them. I have revisited the original Batman, but I haven't. Anyway, we're off topic.
Very off topic.
So yeah, Michelle
Welcome to our
Pfeiffer,
world.
Catwoman is in this film pretty prominently, and obviously, I mean, everybody knows this from the trailers, but you have Kang the Conqueror is in this film. Now, I have read some of the comics. I don't know. Have you read any of the Kang comics?
No, I have not. I've
read a few. I'm trying to remember.
Spoiler alert, if you didn't know it, Kang's in this film.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the trailers. I mean, anybody who's been following the MCU should know by now that, before even seeing the film,
We're up
that's
to our
who,
neck in Kang's.
Yeah, that's who's in there. Obviously, so, like, I was rewatching in preparation for this, I rewatched the second Ant-Man, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Endgame. This doesn't really connect to Endgame at all, not really.
You just wanted to watch Endgame.
Yeah, well, the quantum realm, it really just served as a vehicle for time travel in Endgame, so they didn't really explore much about it in Endgame. But obviously, Ant-Man and the Wasp is much more relevant, and Loki would be the other series I think that is very relevant to this, because you get introduced to one of the Kangs towards the end of that.
He Who Remains.
Yeah. So if you haven't, like, if you happen to watch or listen to this before you see the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I recommend rewatching it, or watching, if you haven't seen it yet, the series Loki on Disney Plus before seeing this, because they will connect.
Well, they will.
So I don't think that's a spoiler necessarily, especially for anybody that's seen Loki, and then you see the trailer, you're like, oh, it's that dude from wait, he looks just like the dude from Loki. And I don't think this is a spoiler. He's a variant from another time. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Get used to that word variant.
Yeah,
It's gonna come up.
It does. Obviously, it pops up a lot in Loki, in the series Loki, and
Especially.
It does. They didn't do too much on this one, but
No, not this one. But I feel like the MCU is heading in that direction.
It does pop up. But yeah, so let's see. So we talked about the acting, we talked about the visual effects. The music was solid. It's done by the same guy that did the music for the Frozen, actually. Frozen 1 and 2.
Cool.
Christoph Beck. And I think I want to say he's done a couple of MCU films as well. But yeah, I think that was really good. And so let's see. What else was it? Well, directing, like, I feel like sometimes there's two forms of directing I feel that are really good. There's the one where you don't even notice the directing. I feel like that's pretty solid. But then there's others where you can tell, like, he's got his fingerprints, he or she has their fingerprints all over it, and they're just an auteur of the art form. This falls more into the first category. I feel like it's done really well. Like, you don't notice it, like, because if it's really badly directed, then you're like, oh, what were they thinking? But if you don't notice it at all, that's often a sign that it's been directed really well.
Right.
Especially if the actors are shining and doing a really good job. So I feel like this falls into that category where it's directed well, and like such that you're just sucked into the story. You don't really even think about who's directing it or what their choices are in general. I felt that way. I don't know. What do you think?
I saw someone walking behind us in the background, and I zoned out for a while.
He missed the last 2 minutes of what I said. So.
Yeah, just ask my wife. It happens all the time.
It happens to me too. You can ask my wife; she knows.
I have no idea what you just said, Richard. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I was talking about the directing.
And then I started thinking about our shirts. Oh, we're both wearing space shirts.
Yeah, like I'm wearing Chateau Picard.
My mind was everywhere except where it needed to be.
Yeah, this is we're recording this on Thursday the 16th, and the Insta review anyway. And any of you who love Star Trek probably know that Picard Season 3, Episode 1 came out today, which I plan to watch no later than tomorrow. Well, actually, no. We might watch it together because next Thursday we're recording an episode for, the first week of March is going to be released. We're going to review the first 2 episodes of Picard Season 3. So, preview. So, stay tuned for that. That's going to be the first Wednesday in March that episode will drop. But this episode will drop this coming Wednesday. So, yeah. So, this pretty much wrapping up our instant review. So, we both gave it 4 nerd hats out of 5.
That seems fair.
Reactions. Yeah, I don't think I'll change that, like, even given time. Like, I have had a few films where I've either rated too low or too high right after seeing them. It's had, like, a strong reaction, and then he gave it some thought later, and I'm like, you know what, I wasn't fair, or I was too nice.
Like when I got out of Amazing Spider-Man 2, and you asked me what I thought, and I was like, this is the best Spider-Man I've ever seen, and you were like, Will, are you crazy? This was terrible.
Oh man, Electro, that's all I gotta say about that, Electro. Although I really like what they did with his character when he came back in the newest Spider-Man movie. So much better. Jamie Foxx would probably agree. He was terrible. It's not even necessarily Jamie Foxx's fault.
I'm just sad we didn't get to see more Rhino.
Right. Oh, yeah. Paul Giamatti. I wonder how much he got paid for that little cameo. Like, it was probably fun. He probably had fun with it.
Yeah. Well.
Poor use of his talents, though, I have to say.
I'm always on a high when I get out of a movie, so my ratings aren't very trustworthy.
I think I do recommend, though, like, watch this without any drugs in your system the first time, but then go and rewatch it. Like,
90s child, don't do
some
drugs.
do some shrooms or something. Like, especially if you live in California, go get some weed.
If you're a plumber,
and it'll probably be legal in North Carolina before too long, but it'll be you'll have probably more fun the second time. You might not remember much, but
or just
it
buy
will be
some alcohol
a trip.
at the concession stand.
I will say though, if you have epilepsy, don't see this movie.
Don't see this movie.
Don't see this movie if you have epilepsy. No, don't do it. It'll probably trigger a seizure.
We should have an entire podcast separate from this one, just called "Don't See This Movie."
That's actually a good idea for a podcast.
Where we just watch movies that no one else wants to see that are terrible until we just can't stand it. And the final podcast is us on a bridge.
Oh no, that got really dark.
No. Dark comedy.
That's actually a good idea for a podcast. Maybe we should totally do that. It's like, don't see this movie. There are a few other podcasts that do something similar to that out there, but we could do our own spin on it, like pick movies that no one else has picked yet.
Yep.
I have an idea for one.
I joke.
Spaced Invaders. Did you ever see that back in the 90s? It might even be a late 80s film. Spaced Invaders.
No, but it rings a bell.
Had these tiny little green men. Had the girl from Jurassic Park, I believe, was in it. That was her first film.
Really?
Lex. I think.
Yeah.
Lex, but she was a little younger, so this must have been like late 80s. It was a movie from my childhood. But yeah, it's
his childhood.
Yeah. He didn't see it, obviously. But, so anyway, this is our instant review. But if you're listening to this obviously, if you're listening to this in podcast land, following it is going to be a more in-depth review that we're going to record probably either tomorrow or Saturday, and but you'll be able to hear both, So yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that one guy who's in this film that I can't talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think doesn't he pop up in a trailer? I feel like I saw him in a trailer, so it didn't surprise me. I'm pretty sure he was in a trailer. Because when I saw him, oh, okay. When I saw him,
all of them.
It didn't surprise me.
Okay.
So, but
I was surprised when they mentioned his name.
If you haven't seen any trailers, you will be surprised. There's a cameo in the film.
That too. Who are we talking about?
It's Ghostbusters related, just so you know.
I was talking about the other guy.
The other guy.
I knew that.
Oh, you knew
Ghostbusters related guy was in this.
Oh, okay, so you knew that Bill Murray was going to be.
Yeah.
He's in the trailer.
Yeah.
So there's another guy.
Well, I didn't see that particular trailer, but I knew Bill Murray was on set filming, so it was just waiting to see who he was playing as. Yeah.
So he plays a human-like character.
A humanoid.
Humanoid. Yeah.
Nah.
They don't really explain that, why there's like human, like some people that look like humans down there in the quantum realm that were apparently, I don't know if they're born or what, how that works in the quantum realm. They didn't explain any of that. Maybe they'll do that in some other series or film or something.
Or not.
Or not.
Seems like a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
A lot of backstory.
More things to mine for the next 20 years of the MCU. Anyway, we both need to get out of here and get to bed, so that concludes our instant review. So after this break and these messages, our more in-depth review. So stay tuned.